In today's Leeds news, Klaesson contract to be cancelled, latest on the Johnny Rowe situation, Humphreys Linked details and match officials for a cup clash. Morning folks, Jay here to view on Tuesday morning the 13th of August with your Leeds United news. Hope you're all having a really good week so far. Had a nice weekend. The result did not go the way that we had planned at the weekend. I think everyone expected lots and lots of goals. They got lots of goals, but not necessarily in the way we would have wanted them. A 3-3 draw. We did do a match review last night with Ben Locke from Lockheed Leeds and Jerry McNamee of LS11. You can check that out. It'll be linked at the end of the channel as well, or you can check it out on the live tab on the channel. We'll crack on today and we'll get into the news. It's been really quiet over the last couple of days. Yesterday was very quiet. There was no news yesterday. I went off to collect wedding invitations, but also there was just really not a huge amount to get into yesterday. Monday's becoming an increasingly difficult day for transfer news, but there is some bits floating around this morning and some updates, and we'll start off on a former Leeds United player's position, and we'll start off with Chris Klaesson. Things are not going as they were planned to do so for Klaesson, and after his move to Poland. Klaesson joined Polish side Rakow Czechowicz just over a month ago and had favoured the move to that club over minutes over money, and even commented himself that the move was a significant pay cut from what he was earning at Leeds United, but was favouring getting game time. But that doesn't appear to be exactly what's happened to the player. Przesglad Sportowa, a publication in Poland, claim that Rakow are now preparing to potentially terminate the contract of Christopher Klaesson after he returned to pre-season, as they've quoted it, carrying a few extra kilos. He was then ordered to train with the reserve team in an attempt to get the weight off him and get him in condition to start the season. Reports suggested in Norway that his condition has improved, but that coach Papasun remains unhappy with the player and the situation, and a termination or a mutual termination of the contract is being explored. Klaesson was expected to make his debut against Lech Poznan last weekend, but when he didn't appear in the matchday squad, more questions were being asked around the future of the player who signed a 3-year deal at the club. Rumours that Klaesson was pictured in a McDonald's and were then shared with the ownership of Rakow, and this move was said to have angered the hierarchy. Haven't gone down well with the player, but it should be said that these reports are unconfirmed rumours just as of now. Leeds did receive a nominal fee for Chris Klaesson when he did move, but it now appears that between Rakow and himself, they are exploring the possibility of terminating his contract, player's condition not being the main reason for that as well. It should also be said that Chris Klaesson was involved in a car collision back in April during international duty, and there's a lot of noise off the pitch around Chris Klaesson, and a hell of a lot more noise off the pitch than there has been on the pitch when it comes to his career in recent seasons. So unfortunate for Chris Klaesson, but you know, if you return to pre-season out of shape, you're kind of walking yourself into these issues. Not going the way things were planned for Chris Klaesson. Moving on to a player that we've talked about so much over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and we're at that point of just either get it done or walk away. We're talking about Jonathan Rowe, and according to Team Talk, so just take this with a big pinch of salt, because some of the detail and numbers that they're quoting seem very different to numbers that everybody else is quoting, but they claim that Leeds United are ready to step up their interest in the Norwich City attacker. Marseille over the weekend had an £8 million bid rejected for the player when they attempted to step in ahead of Leeds United to get a deal done. That should be said, it was £8 million as reported by pretty much everywhere else. Team Talk are quoting it as £10.5 million rejected, so they could be mixing euros and pounds up here. But we'll keep moving on with this story. Anyway, Team Talk claimed that Leeds still have a chance to pip Marseille to a bid for the player. Rowe withdrew from the Norwich City squad over the weekend with a lot of rumour and speculation around his future. It was said that he approached the Norwich City management to discuss the situation, and a decision was made between both parties to remove him from the squad to allow him to sort his head out essentially and allow the squad to focus on the game that they had coming up. Team Talk's Fraser Gillen claims that Leeds are now ready to make their first formal approach for the player. Contrary to rumours, they claim that Leeds United have yet to actually make a bid for Rowe. Sources that have told Gillen that there is optimism around Elland Road about the possibility of winning the race and getting this deal done. The article also states that Leeds have made contact with Rowe's representatives Rowe sees himself playing at a higher level, but Leeds could still sell this project to the player should they get a proper chance to speak to him and showcase what their plans are for Leeds. Rowe is said to not be against a move to the south of France either. Leeds, again, as it states, haven't made an official approach, so depending on how those conversations go in the coming days, that could either move him more towards Leeds or away from Leeds. But it should also be said that L'Équipe in France are claiming that Marseille viewed the move for Jonathan Rowe as too expensive and complex and are likely to move on and look at other targets. There has been rumoured interest by Marseille in several other players in the last few days as well, so they might not be hanging around with this one. It does appear that if Leeds want to get this deal done, a bid of between 10 to 13 million pounds looks likely to be the sweet spot. Whether Leeds will do that, we'll have to wait and see. There were rumours that Leeds bid £15 million for Raksaki, which is unsubstantiated rumour and appears to not be the case at all on that situation. But we'll cover Raksaki in a few minutes' time. Moving on to another link that came up over the weekend with Leeds United, and a defender link, and this one coming from the Premier League. Leeds had been initially loosely linked with a move for Chelsea defender Bashir Humphreys. Following on from that, Fabrizio Romano then tweeted that Humphreys will leave Chelsea in the coming days on either a loan or a permanent move, and that Leeds United and Burnley were amongst the favourites for the player's signature, along with a few unnamed Bundesliga clubs. Humphreys is primarily a centre-back, but can play on the left-hand side, full-back positions as well, and quite comfortably. And Romano states that the interest from Leeds United in the player is concrete interest. So there might be something in that. Chelsea are said to favour a permanent exit for the player outside of a loan move, which may suit Leeds United because it removes the negotiation arm of trying to sort out guaranteed minutes for players or not. If a loan is taken off the table and it's a permanent move, then that goes away and Leeds are negotiating purely on salary and positioning for the player. No fee or price range yet has been confirmed. There's rumours of roughly in and around £8 million for the player. Humphreys has been on loan twice before. He was in Germany with SC Paderborn before last season, playing around 20 odd games for Swansea in the Championship as well. Romano, it should be said though, is becoming increasingly unreliable in recent weeks and recent days as well. He's put out a lot of stories about confirmed moves that have been done and has then had to roll back to say those moves have been cancelled or called off at the last minute. Some deleting of tweets happening as well. So right now, not overly reliable. There's a lot of noise. The transfer market is expected to kick majorly into gear in the next 2 weeks when the Premier League sides confirm their squads. So we'll see where Leeds are in that situation. Humphreys is kind of the player Leeds you would imagine are looking for. He can play left centre back if needed, but he can play left back if needed as well. And it gives Leeds that cover that they're looking for Junior Firpo on that left hand side as well. And it maybe gives Leeds some cover there from a left side of this defensive position should Max Verber decide to move on. But we'll see what happens with Verber tomorrow night in the Cup. And moving on to some quick transfer updates before we get to the last topic of the day, and just to give you a final approach on where these players have all landed. Raksaki is expected again to complete his move to Sheffield United early this week. Deal is said to be a 7-figure loan sum, but does have a recall clause in January. As I said, there was rumour over the weekend that Leeds had gone in with a £14 million bid for the player, which again, unsubstantiated rumour, hasn't been confirmed by any reliable journalist. And it should also be said that Crystal Palace made it very clear to clubs he was not for sale at any price. They were looking to loan him out, which is why Southampton haven't got the player and Sheffield United look like they will get the player, giving him those guaranteed minutes. That recall clause in January is something Leeds would wisely stay away from, because he could become a very important player for you and then you could lose him like that in January because Palace want to bring him back. So in that situation, probably not the best move for Leeds. Hugo Bueno, another player that was linked with Leeds recently, a left back at Wolverhampton Wanderers. We said that this would be a tough deal to get done. It appears the player has now signed for Feyenoord. Those European football and guaranteed minutes there will be enough for the player. So it was always going to be a tough one for Leeds. He was likely coming in as cover for Firpo. He now goes off to Feyenoord instead. And then finally today, just to cover off, the matchday officials for the Carabou Cup match tomorrow night against Middlesbrough have been confirmed. Anthony Backhouse will be the man in the middle for the clash. In 12 championship games last season, Backhouse issued 59 yellow cards and 1 red card. He has yet to officiate in a Leeds United game during his career so far. And in total, in all competitions and all games that he refereed last year, which was 23 games in total, he issued 103 yellow cards and 2 red. So about 4.5 yellow cards per game. So Leeds would need to be on their best behaviour going into that game to make sure that they don't end up on the wrong side of a stack of yellow cards being thrown their direction. But we'll wait and see how that one goes. As I said, there is a review from the weekend's game last night. Myself, Jerry McNamee and Ben Locklocky Leeds. You can check that out down below if you want it, and you can subscribe to the channel as well if you want to do it there. I'll be back tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. Enjoy the rest of your day. Talk to you soon. See ya.